So, to those creative types out there, have you ever gotten discouraged and thought, what is the point of writing a book or a script or even a YouTube channel? There are already thousands out there. It's all been done. These days, the internet can make any product, any market, any genre feel oversaturated. We are all hyper aware of what's out there and available. And this sense of defeat is a super normal and super logical feeling. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter how many stories have come before yours. It doesn't matter how many millions of novels are already lining shelves, how many blockbusters have already been made. People will never say no to something good. There will always be a market and an audience for the next big thing. Do you know what I mean? People will always be ready for the next Harry Potter, the next Lord of the Rings, the next Star Wars. History has shown again and again that even the most crowded fields, there's always room for something new. Today, I want to show you why oversaturation doesn't matter and how some of the biggest success stories in publishing and film actually came from genres that were already full to bursting. So let's start with the obvious. Yes, shelves are crowded. There are more books on Amazon than you could ever read in a lifetime. Hollywood releases hundreds of films every year, and Netflix practically drops a new show every Tuesday. It's overwhelming. It makes you feel like anything you make will be swallowed whole and lost in the noise. But here's the truth. Audiences are not looking for quantity. They're looking for the next thing that blows them away. And that's the way it goes, doesn't it? Do you ever start a book or buy a movie ticket thinking, ooh, I hope this is mediocre? No, we want to be impressed. We want to be surprised how much we liked it. Nobody cares that there are already 1,000 fantasy epics. They just want the one that grabs them right now in this moment. And time after time, history has proven that even when the market is too full, there's always room for the next big hit. Take Harry Potter. By the mid-1990s, the children's fantasy genre was hardly empty. Dozens of authors were churning out dragon and wizard stories. If J.K. Rowling had looked at that market and thought, nope, too late, fantasy has been done, it's oversaturated, she would have never written a word. And yet Harry Potter didn't just succeed, it became the defining children's series of its generation. Or, and people are going to love this one, Twilight. In the early 2000s, vampire fiction was everywhere. Anne Rice had already owned the gothic vampire niche for decades. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a cultural phenomenon. By all logic, the market was tapped out. Vampires had been done. But Stephenie Meyer approached the idea differently, through the lens of teen romance. And suddenly, despite being another oversaturated concept, her books were so popular that they were turned into movies, which became even more popular. Twilight memes are still pretty common today. People love to make fun of Twilight, but if you look back at what it was like when Twilight was new and happening, you'd remember that it had people in an utter chokehold. People were getting tattoos. It was like Beatlemania for the actors for a while there. And then there's the Hunger Games. So beyond simply an oversaturated market, let's look at something that's literally already been done before. Stephen King's The Running Man introduced the idea of a televised death match where survival is entertainment, complete with trials featuring over-the-top killers and a host and an audience that treat the game as if it were a glamorous primetime show. Readers could have looked at it and said, wait, we've seen this before. But they didn't. They embraced it because The Hunger Games wasn't just a rehash, it took familiar ingredients and reframed them for a new audience with a new voice. The point is, even when something's already been done, it doesn't matter if it can be done better. And if we go back a little further, look at Star Wars. By the 1970s, science fiction was already everywhere. 2001: A Space Odyssey had blown audiences away. Planet of the Apes had become a full-blown franchise. Star Trek was already a cultural phenomenon. To a lot of studios, the genre looked tapped out. But George Lucas blended sci-fi with myth, adventure series, and swashbuckling energy, and suddenly a played-out genre became the single most profitable franchise in history. The market wasn't the problem. The market was hungry for something that felt fresh, even in an oversaturated space. So, what's really happening here? Why doesn't oversaturation kill originality? Because audiences don't think in terms of numbers. Nobody says, I've seen too many action movies. I don't need any more. People don't want less of a genre. They want the next thing in that genre that feels exciting and new. We consume stories because we want the next book or movie to be the one that we can't stop thinking about. And here's the real danger in waiting for an empty market. If you wait for the perfect time that never comes, you will miss your chance forever. By the time a market looks empty, it's usually because nobody cares anymore. You're entertaining a graveyard. So, the trick isn't to find the emptiest shelf, it's to bring something alive and compelling to a market that already exists. So, there are 1,000 reasons why a writer can get pessimistic or discouraged about their work, but this should not be one of them. So, the next time you feel dissuaded by the idea that it's already been done before, remember, the problem is letting fear keep you from starting. Yes, the shelves are full, but they've always been full. And if your idea is solid, it will cut through the noise. Think about it. Have you ever gone to lunch and said, "No thanks, I ate yesterday"? No, people are always hungry. And if your story is good, they will eat it up. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.